game really, in my opinion, boils down to a very inefficient, not very effective, consistent first half by the offensive unit. Um, and I think we struggled to overcome that. I think it affected the entire outcome of the game relative to the play count. Played 49 plays on offense and 72 on defense. Certainly that's too high. We did a lot of things well in the game, though. I think we took care of the ball. We created a turnover on defense at a critical point in the game. I thought we improved in the kicking game. Not necessarily pleased with some of the penalties, but just the effort, the fundamentals and techniques, the one-on-one matchups that we stressed all week. We did some good things there. Defensively, the numbers may not directly reflect this, but the effort, the physicality was the best that it's been this year. We took a step forward there, and we're a young unit. I mean, we played 10 rookies. We played 4 walk-ons on defense. I mean, we're a young group, an inexperienced group over there. But the good thing is I think we're seeing some progress. But really disappointed with the first half for the offensive team, the inconsistency, the negative plays, the lack of execution. And when you play a team like that plays small ball, the mistakes are magnified, And we just didn't control the tempo of the game on offense. And we met every goal we have on offense. We had 200-yard rushers. The goals we didn't meet were the points scored and the quarterback rating. And I think that there's tons of opportunities here. I think at the player level, I think we've got guys that realize maybe a bad day or two during the week of preparation and practice affected the game on Saturday. We had some ownership at the player level really in the last couple of days, and that's been a good thing, and we've got to learn from this and move forward, and we've got to grow up. So we've got one heck of a challenge here that probably, is well documented. This is one heck of a football team that's playing at a really high level. Alabama's the standard in college football, and certainly Coach Saban, in my opinion, is the best that's ever done it, and he does that with a tremendous work ethic and self-discipline and sets the tone for the entire organization. So with that being said, the focus for our football team is to eliminate the negatives, really control the controllable things, the mental errors, lows, technique, undisciplined penalties. Those are the things that we got to really zero in on and eliminate this week. And we've got to have a great week of practice and prep that will affect our team for the better for the big picture entire season. So with that, we'll take a few questions.
You just addressed some of those things there, but you talked a lot between Grambling and Mississippi State about margin of error.
Yeah.
How do you overcome margin of error when it's 0?
Right. Well, I think that we can't afford to have a half of football in offense like we had, and it affected the play count of our defensive team, and then the fatigue factor settles in, in the second half when it's time to make a critical stop, So we still got deficiencies, We're still young, we're still inexperienced on defense, but I think the thing that I was pleased with was we made adjustments at halftime. We played with great energy and passion and effort in the second half, and we got ourselves back in the game and put ourselves in position to where we had opportunities to go win the game. Now, did we do that? No. But I think that's where we're at. We're first-year staff. We've got a new way of doing things around here. We are growing up a little bit, but, our players, they've got to come to grips with what's really required to go play championship-level football, how to prepare, how to practice, and that's where we're at. That's where we got to focus our time and effort to make improvement.
Alabama has been dominant for years, but it's something that just seems different about this offense. It seems like it's on a whole other level. From your perspective, what's impressed you the most about what they've been able to do on that side this year?
Well, first of all, they have tremendous personnel at every position, and this is probably the best personnel that they've had. There's no chink in the armor. The offensive line, the tight end group, the running back group, the receivers, and I really think the rookie quarterback is what makes them dynamic. His accuracy, his arm talent, his ability to stand in the pocket and work his way through his progression and make good decisions. and he's also a great athlete that's an effective runner and can extend the play. So, you know, it's pick your poison with this group. You know, you got to kind of decide what you want to take away. And they're playing efficient ball, and they're working together in all three phases. And you know, they've got a good thing going right now.
What's your biggest takeaway from the time you spent with Saban, and what's maybe the one thing that after that experience you said, I'll never do that?
I think, you know, probably the biggest thing is that you got to go earn it, you know, regardless of what's said on the outside, you know, what the preseason polls would say or who you got coming back. You got to start over every year. You got to develop that team, that identity, that leadership, the voices. You can't assume anything. You got to clearly define the expectations, and you got to be consistent and hold people accountable. And you got to be relentless in your approach in terms of your self-discipline and work ethic. And I think that's what I admired about coaches. He wasn't asking anyone to do what he wasn't already doing himself. So I think he's pretty well documented the success that he's had there, and there's certainly, I don't think it's slowing down anytime soon.
Any takeaway that you said, I'm going to do this differently or that differently?
Nothing specific, you know, nothing I think that we can comment here on, you know, but I do think there's a handful of things that throughout the organization maybe that you've been exposed to or I've been exposed to at different stops that maybe you think are a little bit better way of doing stuff, but Coach has got conviction about what he does, and that's why he has success. So there's no arguing with the production and the well-documented history of success there.
Coach, being new to the city and the area and implementing a few new structures to the team, first off, how are you just adjusting now that the season has started? How are you feeling?
Well, I think just like you would expect from any new organization, whatever it may be, we get a little bit better and a little more efficient each week, and that's what we've got to do. We've got to establish our processes in-house relative to what a Sunday to Saturday looks like. You know, you can't assume anything. You got to define every expectation in terms. It might be pregame, it might be the travel, whatever the case may be. So we're doing a lot of these things for the first time, just like we did the entire off season. That's one of the things that we talked about as a staff this morning is just keep working on the intangibles, keep developing these young people as students, harping on the intangibles, harping on building character, growing some leadership up, really working on habits, choices, and decisions, and the cumulative effect of that will pay off. But, you know, if it wasn't broke, wouldn't be here. You know, we got some things we got to fix, and I think we're doing that. Scoreboard might not reflect that, but I see areas where we're making improvement, and that's what we're going to continue to focus on.
Any update on Zion?
Zion has basically a shoulder injury. He did do some things yesterday. He didn't practice, but he's rehabbing. We'll have some more specific results here later today. But he did do some movement. He did do some rehab exercises yesterday. But I don't anticipate him being ready to play this week.
So you'd say a timetable right now would be probably Texas State?
That's a total prediction. I don't think it's time to be making that type of statement. But I would say he's questionable for this Saturday's game.
How much did not having him hurt you as far as depth-wise there, especially with what Coach does?
Right. I mean, there's no question the impact of the game. And certainly he was disruptive early when he was in the game. Zion, I've commented about him in the past. He's a great practice player. He's got a tremendous attitude. He's a good competitor. He's really improved his technique. He plays with great effort. He's one of the better front players that we have. So, obviously, you could view this two ways. You can sit around and talk about what a negative is, or you can say, hey, what a tremendous opportunity for a guy like Trevante Booker to step in, take some of those snaps, and really capitalize on the moment. And that's the approach we're going to take. And we need guys like Booker to step up to the plate and provide some quality snaps going forward, even if we had Zion healthy.
This week is teacher or student versus mentor. How are you feeling approaching the game?
Well, it's humbling. I mean, heck, you got a chance to go play the #1 team in the country and coach against the best. You know, I said earlier, I think the best that's ever done it. So I think it'll be a great experience for our staff, our players, and certainly for me as a first-year head coach.
Final question, please.
It seemed like, no, go on, go ahead, mine's not important.
Here you go.
It seemed like against Grambling and Mississippi State to a degree, and I could be wrong, I usually am, you were able to get a lot more crossing stuff and slants and things like that. Was Coastal just taking that away from you, or was that not as much in the game plan? What was going on there?
Well, I think we just, we didn't necessarily get to it. I mean, we played 49 snaps, so typically you come out of a game and your overage on your call sheet is minimal. We had lots of overage in this game plan, so they did a good job. They had some wrinkles early that disrupted us, and I think we did a good job making adjustments, but it was too late. So I think when you go back and watch the tape, there's nothing that's not correctable. And I think our players are owning that. I think our coaching staff is owning that. And I think we can coach them better. That's my opinion.
Could you talk just about your running game? I mean, you had the guys that, a couple guys had great games, and was it something that, the front guys did a job there? Or?
Yeah, we did. We did a great job, in particular in the second half. Thought our guys came out and executed the plan, played with great effort, great fundamentals. We really ran almost some of the same exact plays that we didn't execute in the first half. So I think that gives us a little bit of an indication of what can happen when we do it the right way. Hopefully, this difficult experience that our players had to go through is going to lead to change in behavior. That's the key here. We got to get that. We got to take this opportunity to really make some changes to our routine and prepare and practice the right way, and that'll lead to better results.
When you talk about the difference in the offense from the first half to the second half, I mean, you could clearly see the guys came out ready to play in the second. What did you say to them in the locker room to see that difference, and then maybe how can they get into that mentality to start the game against Alabama? Yeah,
we got to put two of those halves together. You're exactly right. I mean, and I think basically, in my opinion, they weren't as prepared to play as they needed to. We had things happen in the last 48 hours that I was very disappointed with, and I think our players have owned that since then, and I think that we can do better in the future in terms of what type of intensity and mental urgency that we have and go out there and play. But dug a hole and really struggled to overcome it. So this is a critical time that we have to learn at the player level that, hey, we can't afford to do that in the future. And when we do things the right way, we have success and we have production.
Overall,
Are you
Coach, what is your
talking
assessment?
Curfew stuff, or?
No, just lack of, reload plays in a Friday walk, urgency to be places at the right time, simple things that it all matters, right? It all matters. And I think that our players have owned that, and that's been one of the positives that came from the game.
Well, what is your overall assessment of your program at this point? Is it where you thought you'd be, or where you are, can you just give us a little overall?
Well, I think that we've added a number of players to our defensive football team. We're going to end up awarding 10 scholarships to walk-ons here, so we're 10 under the 85. We've had to clean up the roster a little bit in terms of roster management. I think 40% of our team is new. We're a new staff, and we're, you don't ever know until you start playing the games exactly where you're at from a maturity standpoint, as a football team. But I think we've made tremendous progress in a lot of the areas that maybe aren't measurable. The togetherness that we have, the conditioning element that we've addressed. We've made tremendous progress in lots of areas. Where we have to improve is what's required in a typical game week to go prepare. You know, handling this workload, this expectation, and really doing the work, do what is required. And very few are willing to do it, just so we all understand. And if we want to have a championship level football program, we have to show up each week, Saturday, Sunday to Saturday, and execute that routine. And we got to improve our roster. We have to add players. We got to do these routines over and over and over. All these reps are going to add up. We got to keep promoting the intangibles. We got to be crystal clear in terms of our expectations with the players, and we've got to be consistent and hold them accountable. But I'm pleased with lots of areas on our football team, but you know, the scoreboard doesn't necessarily reflect that. But I also know that there's lots of things that we need to address and fix going forward. And the good thing about it is, I think the guys that we have in position that can affect this team, that are leaders on this team, they fully comprehend those things as well and are working right alongside the coaches to get things resolved and get those things fixed.